All right, people. It's time to get honest. If you are still depending on that to-do list to keep your life on track, I gotta tell you, that's probably the reason you're feeling a little stuck and unfulfilled. Because most to-do lists are made to make you feel productive, but they actually just keep you busy instead of focus on the things that matter most. So in this video, I'll break down why to-do lists are set up to fail and the intentional approach to to-do lists that will help you take back control. Okay, so let's start with why to-do lists feel so good, but don't work in the long run. If you are watching this video, it's very likely that you love making a good to-do list. And then checking off those completed tasks. Heck yeah. Little dopamine hits for sure. We love a good to-do list because they give the illusion of being productive because you're checking things off. Who doesn't want to be a productivity princess? As good as it feels in the short run, it's not effective in the long run. I certainly don't want to be an ineffective productivity princess. So the vast majority of us create lists that run the gamut from urgent to unimportant tasks without distinction. Darn it, Eisenhower, you popped up again. So in other words, our to-do list is a dump of tasks that we don't take the time to differentiate, prioritize, or even filter through the what matters lens. So what happens is you can finish a list, but still have no real progress towards the things that actually matter. Big bummer. Oh man, have my glasses been this glary this whole time? Okay, I'm sorry for the glasses. We're just gonna have to make do. So here's the two biggest hidden traps of a traditional to-do list. Number one, lists encourage doing more instead of doing what matters. I'm super guilty of this. I'll write down 3 things on my daily to-do list and then feel super inadequate about that number, so I'll just keep filling it in until I'm like, yeah, now that's a proper list. Okay, hit like if this is one of your fatal flaws too. But there is nothing proper about it. I'm just adding fluff and increasing the likelihood that I'll be doing said fluff instead of doing the actual things that matter, which were the 3 things that I wrote down in the first place. Number 2, a lot of them are reactive and not proactive about our own vision. So many of us start our to-do list with text this person back and email this person back. Why we definitely need to make room for these in our day. We tend to start with these and prioritize them. This is reactive planning. Proactive planning is planning with intention. And here's how intentional planning is different. Proactive planning starts with and prioritizes what matters first. What's going to move the needle on that day? What's going to move the needle on that week? What is your top 1, 2, maybe 3 things that matter most today? And then we assign time for it. I'm not talking about assigning time for every single task or anything like that, but the 2 priorities should have some sort of planned ahead time that you can set aside to do them. Now, this is going to look vastly different for everybody. Someone who has a regular workday versus somebody who's in the depths of motherhood. Although I feel like I found more time to do things when I had little kids because #nap time. We'll also get into way more details about this next week. So next week is going to be very tactical. So intentional planning filters your tasks through the big picture before they hit your day. Your big picture has a planning flow that starts with at least your month and more likely your year or at least your quarter if you plan quarterly. I talk a little more about this in my video, How to Plan Your Month, which I will tag in this video. But when you plan on a bigger picture, you have already identified what matters for that month, what matters for the year or the quarter. And I'm just going to point out the obvious here. Our weeks and our days are what makes up our months and our years. Crazy, right? So what you input on your days outputs what happens in your month. So to kind of wrap this up, let's get into some examples here. Here is an example of a value-based week and day. So while planning your week, decide your 2 to 3 priorities first. Ask yourself, what matters this week? If you're in a spreader planner, this is where planning your month is extremely helpful because it's guided by your values and your people. So those weekly priorities should be flowing from your monthly priorities. Then it's a mindset shift. So instead of thinking, finish all the tasks, you switch it to make progress on these top 2 priorities. On the day level, if you are a daily planner, you decide your top priority task or tasks, and you allocate a time block. So if you're somebody who can time block, if that makes sense to you, if that is season you're in, I really like it because 1, it already sets you up for success. This is when I'm going to do this task. And number 2, I like that there's a time to it. You're like, okay, I'm going to do this for 1 hour, 2 hours max, and this is the time I have. So let's focus on that. Let's get this done. Because if you're anything like me, I can drag a task on like nobody's business. I'm like a slug that drags that pile of slime. Like, that is my task. And I'm like, what have you been doing all day? And I'm like, check the trail. I've been doing this one task all day. Why is that my example? That's gross, and I apologize. Now, this doesn't mean you can't and shouldn't add other tasks to your list, but it front loads the important things, the things that matter. And if only those things get done, that you can hit the pillow that night thinking, okay, I may have not gotten these other things done on my list, but I did the things that matter. That feels more fulfilling than doing all those other fluff tasks without touching that other thing because you felt like you had to pump up your list. So if traditional to-do lists aren't the answer, how do you actually make this shift into intentional planning? That is what the next video is going to be. We're going to be going heads down into our planner, and I'm going to be showing you this simple 10-minute habit that will completely change the way that your days feel. So stay tuned for that. And while you're waiting, I have something that you can add to the comments below. Okay, what is your average length of your to-do list? Honestly, are you the type of person that you are really disciplined about keeping your list at 3, or are you just beef it up? Let's hear it. Let's air our dirty laundry. This is the nest of trust here, okay? You are with like-minded people. We are to be trusted. Okay, so thank you for spending your precious time watching this video, and I will catch you on the next one. Tactically. We're at the end of summer and it's just willy-nilly. I turn on the TV and I'm like, I gotta go record, kids. Peace out.